Hello, welcome to Full Record Jacket, the podcast with me, Phil, and
Me, Ben. How you doing?
welcome to this music news segment. We do this every now and again. We just look at the very latest news. It goes out of date quite quickly, but while it's fresh, it's news.
It's
So, Ben, what have
news.
you got?
Well, this week, Phil, I'm going back a few days on my first story. You know, I'm a roving reporter out and about. Matt Healy from the 1975 wants Oasis, Noel and Liam to grow up and reform and tour. And if I know anything about Noel and Liam Gallagher, all these people for years have been telling them to reform, but I think now that Matt Healy from the 1975 has said it, I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen.
I can't argue with his opinion. I think maybe they should just stop messing about and do something together. But I take a hint of sarcasm there in your assessment.
There's a pinch. There's a slight pinch of it there, Phil. Yeah. He was quite forthright on his view. I think it was on XFM or Absolute, one of those two, the other day when he made his statement. But
I think we can kind of guess what Noel or Liam would reply to that. But I'm just thinking of, is there anybody who they would listen to? Whose intervention on this issue do you think would cause them to perhaps?
Well, their mum hasn't worked with it, so the next step up is God, and I'm not sure if he likes Oasis or not. So,
do you think? I'm just thinking. Do you think if somebody like Paul McCartney were to say something, or maybe Mick Jagger,
Paul Weller?
Paul Weller, yeah.
I think he has said stuff before, Paul Weller, and they're still not reformed.
Well, I would have thought Paul Weller would have said something if it was on his mind, because he doesn't normally hold back. What he thinks. No. So it seems there's no hope then.
It seems at the moment there is no hope. There is no Oasis reunion on the horizon. So I can live with that. You get 2 solo albums every couple of years. I mean, Liam released about 3 albums last year, his album and 2 live albums. I'm happy. I can live with that. So when it will happen, it will happen. So, did you watch the Grammys last night? I didn't.
I must admit, I don't think I've ever watched the Grammys, partly because of it being on in the middle of the night. In fact, mainly because of that, but also because I can't really be bothered. I catch up with these sort of things afterwards. Not that I'm particularly really interested in who's won what, but there have been some British successes, which is something that we should perhaps celebrate.
Yeah. I'm Harry Styles. I think he got Album of the Year for Harry's House.
He did. He got out Harry's House, got the Album of the Year, which was a surprise because I think they were expecting it to be Beyonce. So that was 1-0 to Britain. And then we got some more because Wet Leg from the Isle of Wight.
They did.
Now, I've actually listened to that album. I've listened to it, and I actually enjoyed a bit of them last summer. I haven't actually seen them live. Watched them on Glastonbury's coverage. Watched a few videos on YouTube. They're good fun. There's clearly some talent with those two, and I mean, whether it's premature to be given a Grammy after your debut
first album. No, well, yeah. But they beat the Arctic Monkeys, didn't they? I think was the Arctic Monkeys in the same category.
They did. They beat the Arctic Monkeys, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and Florence and the Machine. So, as alternative rock goes, that's something of a victory. They got the best alternative album and also the best performance in the alternative category for Chaise Longue, the song about the lounger.
Is it Chaise or Shay?
I think it's Chaise Longue. I think that's the way. I think that's the way Brits pronounce it anyway. They certainly pronounce it Chaise Longue anyway, all day long.
Yeah. Do you want to talk more about the Grammys, or do you want to move on to more news?
I think we should move on to more news. I think we've Grammy'd it out, really.
We have. To be fair, that's all. I don't really care for I don't really care for many awards, really, Phil, apart from the ones that we're going to get, possibly. Anyway, a band I've never really been into. I like a few of their songs. You probably do as well. Linkin Park are due to release a new unheard track called Lost on Friday. I think it's Friday the 10th of February to mark 20 years since is it Meteora album. Had songs like Numb and Somewhere I Belong on. So for all those Linkin Park fans, new unheard track coming out. I can't imagine Linkin Park's high on your radar, Phil.
They're not really. I mean, I must admit, I can't really comment on them very much because I've not really listened to it properly. Are they in the same bracket as well? They were kind of more heavy rock rather than that so-called new metal or rap hybrid.
Yeah.
They weren't part of the what was that other band that were around about 20 years ago who had some rap elements in it, and they were really big. They were American. I've totally forgotten the name of the band.
To be fair, it's not high on my radar. It's sort of a heavy rock hip hop cross, isn't it? It's not. We're just not down with the kids anymore, are we? I just think that's what it is.
I wasn't down with them.
No.
Talking of bands that go back away, in fact, a band that goes back a lot further, U2. This is not a totally new rumour, but there was some media coverage of it this week. And mainly because Bono has refused to be drawn on this, and people are thinking that it's true, and that is this rumour that U2 are going to do a residency in Las Vegas. And this is all based around a new venue that's being built there. It's being attached to one of the main hotels off the Vegas Strip, and it's the MSG Sphere. MSG standing for Madison Square Garden. It's basically owned by the same company that owns Madison Square Garden in New York. It's an 18,000 capacity arena, and it is an enclosed arena. It's a sphere, so it's obviously air conditioned.
You would have thought with Bono playing there, he would have wanted it made in the shape of his head.
Well, this venue was delayed. The construction was delayed due to the pandemic, and it's due to open later this year. So there are rumours that U2 have been signed to be the first act to have a season there. But whether that's going to happen, I've no idea. I have no inside information, but I do know that apparently Larry Mullen, the drummer, is undergoing something that he's had before, I believe, back surgery. And whether he's going to be completely fit for that,
who knows?
What we do know is, of course, we'll probably talk about this again closer to the date, but U2 are releasing a quadruple album of remakes of songs, which has already garnered some controversy. So we'll have a bit more of a look at that around the time it comes out, I think. But that's the latest U2 rumour. I don't really have any other news.
Well, I've got two bits. One will interest you. One will probably interest you as well. Noel Gallagher has announced 2 more additional outdoor shows this summer at Vivery Park in Taunton in Somerset on the 24th of August. And then at the Royal Hospital Kilmainham in Dublin on the 27th of August. Now, I've got tickets to see Noel at Crystal Palace, which I will be putting up for sale if anybody's interested in buying them, because I'm going to go and see him the week before in Nottingham now. And finally, there's a streaming provider that does all TV shows, Phil. The first 3 letters rhyme with bet. But Matthew McConaughey is going to voice Elvis Presley in a new Agent Elvis Netflix cartoon. I don't know why I did that. That sounded French. I went,
That was more Johnny Halliday than Elvis.
Or Johnny Bravo, I think. So, yeah, that's... I don't know anything about the cartoon. I've seen a still, and it, if it's got Matthew McConaughey in it, apart from those rom-coms he did, everything else has been pretty good. So I look forward to watching that at some point.
Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the news, so much that it was anything. And, thanks for watching. Join us for one of our discussion videos, because we're so much more interesting in that, aren't we?
We are. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and share, especially